All right, so we're going to verify this trig equation, which is what we were working on at the end of class today. So the cosine of x over 1 plus sine of x plus sine of x over cosine of x equals secant of x. So we're adding two fractions. Anytime you're adding two fractions, you need to have a common denominator. And we're really just going to focus on the left side of the equation here. It's kind of like we're simplifying, and in simplifying, well, we know what the answer is. It should simplify to this. And if we do work algebra and trig identities using only those on the left side, if we end up with secant, then we have correctly verified this. All right, so common denominators are needed. And the most basic way of getting a common denominator is to take the fraction on the left and multiply by the denominator that you have in the fraction on the right in the form cosine x over cosine x. And then for the fraction on the right, multiply by the denominator 1 plus sine of x over 1 plus sine of x. And then once we do that, simplify by multiplying. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared of x. Sine of x times 1 is sine of x. Sine of x times sine of x is sine squared of x. Now that we have common denominators, we can add those two fractions. Cosine squared plus sine of x, cosine squared of x, plus sine of x, plus sine squared of x, all over that common denominator that we worked to get. You don't have to write this step, but I did rearrange, so that way I would have cosine squared plus sine squared right next to each other. And I did that because of the Pythagorean identity. Sine squared plus cosine squared of an angle equals 1. So my next thing is I'm going to replace cosine squared plus sine squared with 1. That's what we've got here. 1 plus sine of x is all that's left in the numerator, and our denominator is cosine of x times 1 plus sine of x. So we do have something that's going to cancel here. You don't have to write this, but I did it to show it in terms of factors. The only thing you can cancel with fractions is factors. You have to have the same factor in every term. The numerator just has the term 1 plus sine of x times 1. The denominator has the terms one term, cosine of x times 1 plus sine of x. And we can go ahead and cancel that term. And we're just left with 1 over cosine of x. And 1 over cosine of x, of course, is equal to the secant. And so we have successfully worked down on the left side of the equation until we ended up with secant. And so that does verify that this whole left side is just equal to the secant of x.